Mat, where we talk about the strange martial art of Jiu Jitsu and how that martial art impacts a person's life. Today, we are joined by Mike Kingrey, entrepreneur that balances a crazy training schedule with owning and managing businesses out of state, constant travel. He obtained his black belt in February, which I was there to witness. Subsequently, has brought home 10 gold medals from IBJJF competitions so far, gi and no gi, and a host of other medals, metal hardware in the first year as a black belt. Has a BJJ super fight coming up in Kansas City, November 11th at Harrah's Casino. Thank you for being here. You were one of my first people that I wanted on the other podcast. Now the time's aligned and we're here. Thank you for showing up today.
Great. I appreciate the invite.
Yep. So just speaking about the black belt that you just received, would you say that that was the biggest accomplishment that you have received in martial art or competition?
Yeah, I would say for sure. Not only just in martial arts competition wise, whatever, outside of raising, two kids that are amazing, it's probably the biggest thing I've ever accomplished in my life, including college, everything, that you can do. The road to get there, I think, was by far the most challenging. Mm-hmm. And I would say the reward at the end of the challenge has trumped pretty much everything.
Good. Now, this time last year, you had just torn your pec muscle, right?
Yeah, my right pec, tore it completely off the humerus. It was retracted about 1.5 inches. Yeah, it was pretty nasty.
But you bounced back pretty quick because a few months later, I seen you already competing.
Yeah.
Not sure how you did that, but you were doing it.
Yeah, I was actually back. Did my first competition. So I tore the pec around November 7th of last year, right before Continent Nationals. So I was unable to compete at Continent Nationals. I missed IBJJF No Gi Worlds. So it's pretty disappointing. I've been working hard to get up to both of those tournaments, The pec tore. I had to have surgery to have it repaired, reattached, everything, and was told the timeline before I'm even back to full contact was going to be minimum 5 to 6 months, which put me out, May to June before I was really supposed to start training. But I'm a big believer that you listen to your body and what your body tells you, and also what your physical therapist tells you. The way I progressed, I worked really hard at the PT. Sometimes I was doing twice a day. I was doing stretches extracurricular at home on top of that on the PT, just trying to push myself, trying to get back in as quickly as I could, and really wanted to be able to do some sort of training when I received my black belt too. So that was a big goal. I want to be able to do something on the mat because I was already set to receive my black belt in February. I already knew that was coming. Then the injury happens, and I didn't think it would feel the same. So I was really set on trying to be back where I could at least do something, when the belt promotion came along.
Yeah.
And so that was a big kind of mid-step goal for me to be back ahead of the timeline too. And so I was able to get there and actually do some light, we'll call it light sparring, that day. But yeah, it was a really good recovery. I had a great physical therapist to work with too. Was able to really get back on the mat, full contact within about 12 weeks, so almost 2 months ahead of the timeline.
You were telling me when we were there in Austin that you were really bummed because that would have been your last time to compete as a brown belt. Did that add more disappointment? And I know you already got your travel plan to get there, and you had to see all of us competing in that. You were really bummed about not being able to compete in your brown belt one more time, right?
Yeah, I mean those were two big tournaments I missed out on between Continent Nationals and Nogi Worlds, and knowing that the black belt was coming. I really wanted to see what I could accomplish there before I stepped it up to the next level, and was feeling really good. So there was definitely some disappointment there, but I think overall, for me, it worked out in the end. Because I learned a valuable lesson too with that. As I have progressed through jiu-jitsu, with age starting in the mid to late 20s now, where I'm at now at 41, is that it's really important to listen to your body.
I don't know if that's necessarily true though, because I seen you a month or so later in Arcadia, and you were already rolling. I'm like, what's going on? I couldn't understand that you were back that quick. That's why I asked you. I'm like, are you supposed to be training right now? My therapist says light.
Yeah, I was going light. But when I kind of go back to the listen to your body thing, like the day the injury actually took place, I just felt like I shouldn't even be on the mat. Yeah, it was probably my 11th day training in a row.
Yeah. And
some of those days were 2-a-days. I felt just sore, dehydrated, just weak. I just felt like this is not a good training session at all. I was like, I should have just taken the day off. And then, within 30 minutes of me having that thought, boom, the pec pops and tears. And it was, so it was obviously, me not listening to my body, but I kind of had that, I think those warning signs. And, so I think that was a good lesson as well.
You have been on a tear since you got your black belt. Or what are you specifically competing to ultimately? On what stage are you trying to get to?
I would say the ultimate goal is a world title. It's tough to get there, to achieve a world title at black belt, whether it's especially in the adult divisions, but even in the master divisions, it's an extremely steep hill to climb. There's tons of talent out there, guys that have been training all their life, guys like me that just got their black belts that are hungry as well, to do the same thing. And it's something that I aspire to, knowing that I may never get there, but it's something I work for day in and day out. That's why I put in the training regimen I do. That's why I put in the time that I do. And I think for me that's the ultimate goal. That's what I'm hungry for, and that's what I'd like to accomplish.
That's what's up right there. Now, getting a black belt, we know it takes extreme discipline. You've been competing for over a decade. You've been in the corporate world as a corporate executive for 24 plus years. How does training so hard impact the normal day life, especially when it comes to being a parent to Penelope and Maverick? Do you find yourself being able to balance that in a way that's fair to both sides?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a learning curve there, for sure. I think you got to find the right balance and understand. And I'd say I probably reduce my training schedule a little bit. When I do have my kids. Being a divorced parent, it's only part time. But
you're never a part-time parent if you're involved, bro.
Well, this is true. And traveling to Kansas City as well to put that time in and manage businesses while I'm there at the same point in time. So, every time when I'm there, it's training, it's business, it's kids. So I would almost say that sometimes my schedule there feels busier than when I'm here in Phoenix. Being that I split and live in two different places. So I think I'm able to actually get in more training here. I'm most of the time I'm doing 2-a-days when I'm here. My weekends tend to be mostly free. And then when I go to Kansas City, it's just boom, boom, boom. I get in, I have the kids, I'm focused on them. While they're at school, it's business stuff, get in training. On the weekend, try to sneak in a little bit of training, balancing the kids in there. You don't want to be too tired at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And it's trying to balance it and manage through all these things. So, that's why, also on top of not taking time away from them, I got to kind of curtail the training because I got to have the energy levels up. I got to be focused on them, activities with them, all those sorts of things. And, make sure that I really get that quality time in while I'm there.
Do you ever see yourself moving back to KC on a full-time basis?
I would say, at this point, probably not on a full-time basis. I could see where there may be a point that, I end up spending more time there, or even maybe majority of time there for a little while as they continue to grow up and things evolve. It's one of those things where I have to take life as it comes and, roll with the punches, so to speak, and adapt. Because right now I'd say my time is probably 70-30, maybe 60-40, where the majority of that 70-30 is Phoenix and then 30% Kansas City. I can see that it's kind of shifted a little bit this summer, where I felt like it was a lot more 50-50. Now that school's back in, that's changed a little bit because they're back in school. But, I can see, like I said, as they continue to grow up, things get busier and, it will probably have more pull for me to be there more often for them.
You mentioned being there more often for them, and there is a huge sacrifice that you're paying right now. You have a lot of stuff going on in terms of business. You're opening up, you're building out 3 more stretch labs right now. How's that going?
Yeah, so we actually have 2 of the 3 open now. So we have one in Fairway, which is a suburb of Kansas City, on the Kansas side. We just opened our location is actually in the heart of downtown Kansas City, Missouri.
Wow.
Right by the Power and Light District. And then now, as that progresses towards grand opening, because it just soft opened, we will start kind of shopping and looking for that 3rd location there to finish the build out for that territory.
Do you ever see yourself getting a franchise here, or are you just going to keep that in KC for right now?
Actually, this would have been probably the first choice because of the market, bigger population, everything like that. However, this direct market was already sold out. So logically, for us, it made the most sense to go to Kansas City next, being that's where I'm from, networking, connections, knowing the lay of the land, all that sort of stuff. And then already, traveling there, twice a month to see the kids and being able to put time in there and put time in the businesses. That was the next most logical location for us to place them.
Now, when you're here, you just operate business from here back to Kansas City, or are you doing anything else around the valley right now?
Yeah, I mean, help manage those remotely and lead the teams there, and then training, and I also do private training for BJJ as well. So kind of balancing all those 3 things when I'm here.
You mentioned the lessons that you give in jiu-jitsu. One of the things I thought was great to me is that you mentioned personal training and beyond the mat, which I took as mentorship. A lot of people, it doesn't matter the age, they need someone to come into their life and spend that quality time. Is that something that you're passionate about, in throwing your arms around somebody and being a listening ear or an advocate?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that part of that comes with the brotherhood of jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu is a hell of a culture.
And as a leader, in that you take naturally to that through the mentorship you had, with those higher belts as you came up through the ranks, and you saw how they treated you, how they were there not only on the mat to teach and help guide you, but in different aspects of life when you spent time with them off the mat. how their friendship, and their mentorship, helped you as well. And being able to pay that forward, so to speak, to others now, as a leader within, your school and the sport, to really help guide people and wherever the support is needed, be a listening ear, help them with problems, talk through, potential business situations with them, whatever it might be, but to provide that support, within the brotherhood, I think is huge. And, I think that's just a part of the culture of the sport. And one reason that makes it so great, why so many people are drawn to it, because you have that support mechanism there for you. And, you have this team and this group of people that's always behind you and there for you.
If you're on the outside looking in, people couldn't imagine the type of relationships you build in those walls, which is the vision I have with this podcast. You're the person that made me start carrying my uniform everywhere I went to start training in other places. I'm like, man, how is this guy getting around like that? But with our membership, we can go anywhere globally and train. Mm-hmm. And that's how I have started building so many relationships, not only within Gracie Baja, but other schools as well. Is that something that kind of triggers you to just kind of step in? Because I noticed you doing a lot more with the younger up-and-coming people in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I think, that's one to kind of, I guess, touch on the travel piece first, or just the training. It's networking, but it's also expanding, your horizons, both on the mat and off the mat. You meet new people. You go train at a different Gracie Baja, or even just a completely different school. You're not only learning new techniques, potentially learning new things, seeing new things, but you have the opportunity to meet new people. Yep. And, just completely, expand, your horizons from that level of diversity, whatever it is. And, their thought, whatever they're into, you meet some really cool people. And I think, that's awesome. And that's one reason why, no matter what, training is a part of it. I always want to keep up on my training. I always want to be training when possible. I try to not let travel hinder that where I can. But the other aspect of it is just in general, the personal growth that you get from it, as you meet new people and learn new things and continue on. And, the younger guys, whether they're just younger guys or they're just young in jiu-jitsu, right? Mm-hmm. It's a journey, and it's a long journey, and I think it can also be an intimidating one. There's a saying I think we've all heard, which is from some people, is the hardest belt you ever get is the white belt, right? Because that was the one that you had to get when you stepped on the mat the very first time, which can be the hardest thing to ever do. Is to step on the mat the first time. And there's a lot of guidance that people look for. There's a lot of what ifs, I think, in the back of people's minds, and they just want to understand things. They want to understand, not only just the techniques, but they want to understand the culture of jiu-jitsu, the culture of the school, the ins and outs of how things work, just in general, right? There's a lot of tradition there too, and there's a lot of things that can be nuanced, and so there's just a lot of questions that come as you continue on that journey, for things that have to do with learning jiu-jitsu, but things you just have to learn the culture too. And it definitely helps to have people there that can listen, that can help and support you.
You mentioned that, one of the things that I always see, and I try to do myself, is that, when you have someone new, white belt, coming in for the first couple of days, you always want to encourage that person to come back. People jump into jiu-jitsu, martial arts, whatever it may be, combat sports, for a reason. My reason, during COVID, everybody, found out different things about themselves. And I found out that I had some mental stuff that I need to work through. And I'm sure that you find the same type of people that you run across. Do you ever find yourself going outside of, the business, the jiu-jitsu, and those type of conversations just to help someone that could possibly be on that edge?
Yeah, I think, it's important to be observant just in general, of people, of your surroundings. And, there's certain things you can see or hear, whether someone comes to you or not, you can seek out and you can make sure that people are doing all right, feeling okay. Some of that, you can see when you're on the mat too, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see it come out. They're frustrated with a technique, right? They're trying to do. Well, a lot of times their frustration really isn't about that technique, right? Maybe about something that happened earlier that day, and the day's just not going well at all because of whatever that is, that day, that week, or whatever. And it's coming out now because this isn't going well for them too. And you're able to see those things. And talk to them, ask them what's going on, see what support you can lend, how you might be able to be of any assistance and help them. So I think, it's important to be an observer of people and this helps you with that. And being able to be emotionally intelligent and pick up on those things and pick up on those cues. Obviously it's easy when people come to you, for a listening ear, but sometimes you have to come to them. You have to seek them out as well. And I think it's important to do those things that when you see something, approach people, make sure everybody's good, take care of them, take care of your brothers and your sisters and do what you can to be a support.
Yeah. That's all about the culture, the community. I don't know per se, the cultures and how the community is in other schools that I've trained in, but I can say that in Gracie Barra, they put a lot of emphasis on things like that. The integrity piece of it. And the brotherhood, I think, is the most important piece. Let's switch for a second. I'm going to ask you again. Do you ever see yourself opening a school?
It's definitely a thought.
And the reason why I asked you this again is because I think you have the leadership characteristics. And just by the answers that you just, shared with us, I think that you would be great for a spot like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely crossed my mind. I don't know if I'm at a point in life, at least as a school owner, where I could give it the time that I see necessary to make a successful school because of the true investment that's required, in time. I think to be a great leader, you not only have to set that vision, build culture, and then, set the example as you lead through all those things. But I think, being present is a huge part of that.
Yep.
And with everything else I have going on in life, I'm not sure I could be present enough to build that successfully. And if there does come a day where, I decide to take that leap, I want to make sure that I can be as invested as necessary, to give that school and the team that would be there what they need and what they deserve.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have Penelope and Maverick training? I believe I've seen Penelope.
Yes. Yeah. Penelope actually just got her second belt promotion this past weekend. Got her gray belt. So very, very proud of that. She's been in just going on 2 years now. I think it'll be 2 years this winter that she has been training. So since she was 6. Maverick is not training yet. He's not about it. He is very shy, and did some soccer this fall. So I was proud of him for that. But still trying to nudge him towards the mat without forcing him, but haven't quite got him there yet.
Yeah. Well, let me say, Maverick, at 46 when I started, I was nervous too, and here I am, almost 4 years later. So. If I can do it, you can do it, buddy. Man, I really appreciate you stopping by. I would love to have you back sometime early next year so I can see how you completed the year with your goals, not only in business but in jiu-jitsu as well. I think it'll be a nice kind of follow-up to show people how successful you are, how successful I see you. So hopefully we'll get you back early next year.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Bro, it was a pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you.